Welcome to my show. A guest here. His name is Mark Show. Mr. Mark, how are you doing, sir?
Oh, I'm doing wonderful. It's a great New Year start for me.
Exactly. Great New Year. Firstly, you are a multi-faceted artist. You are also a director, and you've worked with several corporations. Can you please, sir, discuss more about yourself and how you're doing currently now, sir?
Yes, so I've been acting for a long time. I started when I was 6 years old. I started with my dad's camcorder. I just I was surprised because during when I was a kid, I never thought that was so-called short films. I just grabbed the camera and I just thought of creating stories and I was playing with the camera and I would uh, direct my brother and I would create these stories and then I'll act with him and I'll put the camcorder on a tripod and I'll have all these different static shot and I'll do like some moving shots and and I'll direct my brother uh, to uh, to cam up in different angles that I like, and I would like transfer to a VHS, and I would create these covers with paper, white paper, and I would draw these pictures and I'll share them with family and friends. And it all started when I was 6. And as I got older, I started creating comic books with friends, and then I would share with family and friends. And yeah, and it all started when I was a young boy, and during middle school, just started to lost my passion because of being bullied in school uh and my family was saying like, oh, it's waste of time and stop spending your time on these kind of things. And I was also lost because some things that happened to me when I was 12 years old. And in middle school, I was raped by another man, and it affected my mental. And so throughout the 12 years old to 18, I was lost and I was going in circles and I didn't understand and I didn't know who I can communicate with. And because my parents are like very strict, like men should not cry, men should be like this, they should be an alpha, they should be strong, they should not show sign of weakness. So when thing that happened in middle school, I that time I didn't understand what rape is or what sex means, or I was still so innocent. So I didn't know what to do. And so throughout those years, when I was 18, I finally realized what happened. And I opened up to one of my friend, and he said, "Oh, don't ever share this to anybody. They're gonna like don't see you as a man. They will see you as a weak person." And so, and it was hard, and I didn't talk about it, and I just felt like it was my fault in this world and that existed. And but deep inside, I still have this fire of passion of being an actor and being an artist. And and when I was 18 years old, I was also got into a relationship, and it was toxicity. It was 10-year relationship. Found out she cheated with another um, who I used to call friend, and um, it really destroyed me. So throughout those years of 20 years of just going in circle and lost, and but there I st even though there's things that I was going through, I was still striving to be an artist. I just keep going. And I thought throughout my life, I thought like, oh, like it just has to be big, but it just a small thing can be big to where um, it can be bigger than I imagined. And so last year was the finally the year that I come to acceptance and allow myself to heal. And and through that, I was able to land a feature film. I was casted in a film, and it was also by grace of God that I was able to have that opportunity because um, before during the last year, I was tired of this whole because I also grew up with a very strict church where the division of a woman and a man, like they divide them. So I get in trouble if I talk to a woman. And so but I thought it was kind of fun just kind of sneak in, but I get in trouble. But that's the type of church that I go to. It was very strict and sometimes these rules doesn't make any sense. And so and also my parents was putting some things that is not like it's they say it's this so-called tradition or this is what God said. And I grew up where I felt like God hated me, hate my life. It's like I felt like I was an outsider, like whereas my parents didn't um, saying God hates me, I'm too ugly, I'm stupid, or my grandma would like say all those things to me, saying I'm ugly, and then um, in school I was bullied. My and my teachers, because I was in special education, I wasn't really like be able to learn things because of my disability. And so I remember in high school, I told them I want to learn, I want to get out of special ed, I want to be in CP, but they said, you're you you don't have the capability. You deserve to work in like a fast food restaurant. And and it just really affected my mental. Um, and so last year I finally like, okay, I decided to just stop believing in what other people's opinion. And so I decided to read the whole Bible. And I read the whole Bible in 1 week and a half. And it was amazing because I was like, whoa, like all these people who I communicate in this when I was a child, it doesn't exist in the Bible. Like God doesn't hate me, God loves me. And but the only thing that really affected my part of life was when I came across Revelation and I thought to myself, wait, what if it what if God didn't exist? And part of me felt like the reason because Paul was in jail and he has all this vision and this uh, message from God that God will come back. But then it never happened. It was just his vision. So, and I thought to myself, if I was in a little box, I'll go crazy too, you know. And so, what if God wasn't real? And so, last year in February, it really got into my head, and because there was that little hope, maybe God existed. And that's the only thing that would keep me alive. And so I decided I was ready to jump and I was ready to end my life. And God speak to me and he said, and he showed me this vision of what would happen if I were to jump from a fourth floor and just seeing that me not able to accomplish what God planned for me and um and it's almost like allowing others' opinion, others' feelings to affect who I was. And so, um, and I decided not to jump in, and I was just crying, and then after that I came across this verse of having faith, hope, hope, faith, and love, and that really changed my perspective, and I started to understand what it means to have faith in him, and and to have that love for what he sent sent Jesus to die for us. And so it just it was just I was just, man, like, dang, like, it was it had a change of me. And so I ended up praying to God and said, like, help, as an actor, like, what do you like me to, I'm ready for you, and I want to do more what you want me to do as an artist. And it was interesting. After that prayer, I got an email, and it says, "Oh, we would like you to audition for this feature called God is Good." And I was so surprised because I was like, "Wow, it's." I was not. I was just like, "Wow, God is so good," especially like after one minute of praying to God, and that popped up. And so I called all my friends. I was like, hey, I got this audition for a feature, and um, I can't hang out, and I'm going to be focusing on this. So I worked on this piece for 2 weeks, and I went and I did the audition. I sent the audition. And then this second time, I had like some doubts, but I still continue to let go the worry and the fears and the doubts and the thoughts of like, oh, maybe I didn't do good enough, but to trust in God that and trust that I have done the work. And I was praying that day after that worry, and I got this text. It was so funny how, like, I was praying to God after that letting go that worry and the fear. I get this text, and the producer was like, "Hey, we've been trying to reach you for like the past 4 days on email, and we want you to come back for the second audition." And I was just like, "Oh, whoa!" Like, God is so good. And so I went to the audition and I killed it. And everyone was like, especially the writer, she almost fell off the chair because one of the scene, um, I I was I was yelling at my character was yelling the son and his son, and the writer just almost fell off the chair, and I was like, oh, that's deep inside. I was kind of laughing a little bit because I know that I did great. And after that I thank God. Um and then and then after that they told me they wanted me, and it was such a great experience, that I wanted to do more of God's work. And so throughout last year, it was the focus of healing um, um, and going through the truth where God, when I was reading one of the verse, God says, "Truth sets you free." And last year, I went through the yearbook, and I saw my teacher, and then the person who touched me when I was a boy, um, and I start to remember everything, because for the longest time I was trying to block it, and um, I was running away from the darkness, because I was afraid, and as part of my survival mode of wanting to, uh, kept pushing it away, and I dealt with it, and that causes the PTSD and the trauma and realizing when I was looking through those yearbook and I was like, whoa, because for the longest time I was just blaming myself. And I thought to myself, like, oh, like the teacher was there when that thing was happening. And I remember she was yelling his name and but she wasn't even looking, like trying to looks like she pretending she was helping, but she wasn't. And also I thought to myself too, was like I realized why she didn't help. Maybe in her lifetime, she went through what I went through, or she went through something that really affected her, to cause her not able to help me. And because a lot of times, sometimes when someone needs help, I get triggered. And I didn't understand why that I couldn't help. I couldn't breathe. And then I realized it was through the facing the truth and looking at the yearbook, I realized the teacher didn't do anything about it. She froze. And so it was like a domino effect. And and in order for me to stop the effect is for me to stand up and to face the truth and accept the truth. Um, and that was what I realized what my parents, um, like from that to thinking why my parents keep living in fear is because they don't want to let go of the past. They want to change the past so much that they are so afraid to make a present move. Whereas my family all are an artist, but they gave up their art. But when they gave up their art, they're not happy. They continue to complain and say, "Oh, I have no money. I need to do this and that." But they've been complaining for 60 years, and it's just when are they going to ever accept the reality, the truth, to so that they can go in the path that they were born to do. Um, so after realizing that, I wanted to just accept the reality and the truth so that I can move forward and not live in a victim mindset, but a victor. And also knowing that money is not in control, but using money as a tool to for success, and not and having because before I would like think about all these things that I went through was something that was pulling me down, but actually reality this past and this trauma is not pulling me down. It's only giving me the strength to learn to get stronger. And so uh, throughout the June to December, I learned so much, and it was such a experience ride. And so now in a couple of weeks, the feature that I was in as a one of the lead actor, um, I'm going to um, go and see the premiere in a couple of weeks, and it's just so cool that I'm so grateful and um, just where how I started and become um, today, and yeah, that's my journey of a short version of my journey in my um, life as an artist and as an actor.
I'm so touched by your story. What deeply struck me was when you said, you started, your artist work very early when you are a child, and you also have a strict parent. Even I myself, I'm an Africa guy. My parents are also very strict, a lot of strictness, And with the experience of you during your teenage time and even during your youth time was also really, really traumatic. You are a very strong person. And I was also happy that you had to go to the point of spirituality, which is getting back to know who God is, how He exists, how He so much love us. You also remind me of the time when I felt really, really lonely. After I lost my mom after some years, I felt so lonely, so down that I just felt like nobody loves me. And when I went back to the point of, the Bible, the Word of God, I felt like there is still one person who loves me. Jesus loves me. He cares. He wants the best for all of us. And I'm also deeply, deeply touched by your story. It's definitely not easy. Success in life is definitely not easy. And you are part of the person who is trying to bring the good out of the world. And I continue to hope that you will see more great things, more prosperous things, and more contract and stuff like that in the coming future. I want to sincerely thank you for that. And lastly, Mr. Mark, there is a question I normally ask Mr. Mark. From the ancestors, from the forefathers, there are a lot of things that do exist during the ancestral time, during our ancestral time that it is missing in our time today. If there is anyone or anything you would like to bring back to our time today, what do you think that thing will be, sir?
I think so. My ancestor, I have a very big history. So, the his my great a lot of great grandfather. His name is Su Dongpo. Su Dongpo actually a very famous poetic in China, and he was so famous that the king was so jealous of him that throw him into jail. But at the time when he was in jail, he continued to work on his craft and work on his deep poetry. And when he got out of the jail, he shared his in journey in jail and share his new discovery life, and he shared his poetry, and the king got more mad and kicked him out the kingdom. And my other ancestor was used to be kings and queens and used to be in uh, I believe that my one of my ancestors was also Mongolian, and and then from my great grandfather, uh, he was an architect, and my grandpa was a an artist where basically he would take all the clothes. Let's say if someone just throw away these clothes, he'll cut them into pieces, and then he'll glue them together and make it into a beautiful um, piece. And he would do like Last Supper with Jesus, and he will make uh, Jesus, and when you look far, it looks like a painting, but when you look close, it's actually is all clothes. And and my uncles, which is my dad's brothers, their their watercolor, graffiti, and my dad's airbrush, um, and my mom is a charcoal. And the thing I saw, the pattern is that, oh, and then my great grandmother, she had a lot of money that transferred to her, but that passed on. So my whole family used to be really like really rich, but the only one thing that affected um us was how we lost the money was because we have such kind-hearted, um, and I mean, there's nothing wrong with the kind heart, but it's just my great grandmother couldn't read, so she trusts people very deeply, and so someone in Taiwan, she thought that the money she's gonna uh, give is towards to help people, but she didn't know that she was signing away all her money. So she got tricked and she signed the paper, and we lost all our wealth. And a lot of people in our family grew hatred and anger, and we had to work really hard. And grandma was like, she had to, my grandma would have, uh, so my grandma, grandpa, the three sons and one daughter would sleep together in one studio. And also great grandpa and great grandma was there too. And so they would live in this little studio, and my grandma would have to wash dishes every day, and they would also have to run away from bombs because that time Japan invade China and Taiwan. And so they were always, my grandma would like held my uncles. So two of her son would be on the side of her feet, and my aunt would be on her shoulder, and my dad, I think he was just running with her, and they would just like run and hide from the bombs, and it was just crazy to see stories like that, like how strong, um, like even people that affected my family. Um, they're still striving forward. And that was like the good examples for me to keep that, uh, to keep me keep going. Um, and remembering where my family came from, even though like me and my parents and my family, we don't sometimes, a lot of time we don't see eye to eye because like the way they talk, the way they treat, and it's just very toxic. But at the same time, I do see why um, that they would say those things is because it was a domino effect of it's like a generation curse. And in knowing all that history, just seeing that um, the Shou family was used to be have so much in China and so much in Taiwan, and it's all gone because of other people, um, and so they grew this fear of trusting of others, not trusting. And then the whole 1987 earthquake happened. Originally, our family was gonna we built this together and in America, and they pitched in a lot of money, their saving account, and and the earthquake came, and they lost everything, and one of our relative took all the money. And so that affected our familyhood, where we kind of break apart and we just don't trust each other anymore. Um, and so remembering those stories, and just like learning how to, the hardest part is learning to forgive, um, and accepting the truth. And um, and uh, so I actually, speaking of this, I 2 years ago I finally faced my dad. Uh, it was very difficult, but I had to do it because I want this to stop. Um, and so I told my dad. I said, one day we were for the first time we were seeing eye to eye. We're in jacuzzi, And and I told him, I said, hey, because when I was 4 years old, he he picked me up and he was about to throw me off the third floor because because my mom and my dad, they always fight. They constantly just never stop fighting. So I started crying because I wanted to stop. And my dad got so angry and he grabbed me and he told my mom, he's like, if you say one more word, I'm gonna throw him out, throw him off the third floor. And my mom stopped shouting. And luckily my grandpa was there and he went to grab me and say, give me, uh, drop him and uh, give me Mark. And the determination of my father ready to kill me was traumatizing. Uh, but I understand. It took me a while because I had to accept the anger because it was sadness and it was angry, but I had to accept it. And through that acceptance, I was able to open up to my dad and I told him, and I said, you know, it really affected me mentally, but I I still love you. I I forgive you and I
mm,
understand because what grandma treated you as a kid, you don't deserve that. And that's why that was the only example you have. And so and just me saying that, just like it really, I had a different level with my father now. And and it was the craziest part uh was last year I finally opened up to him too.
mm,
Said uh I told him about what happened in middle school. And I was like, I was so surprised. I thought he was gonna say, "Oh, it's your fault. You didn't stand up. You're not man enough." But instead, I saw his reaction was like he wants to beat the crap out of this guy. And I just for the first time seeing my father wanting to protect me. And I was just like, whoa, this is I had I just never seen this side for 36 years, you know. And then my dad the next morning it was just interesting because we're me and my brother and my dad like the our family we just don't really hug each other. We don't like if we get close it's just like whoa we need it like not so close kind of thing. And so my dad, I was laying in my bed because when I opened up that day, it was
mm,
just so much. So when I woke up in the morning, I was just like, oh, I just don't feel good, and I just feel exhausted. And he just came up to me and just lay on my lap. I was like, whoa, what the heck? This is what's going on? um, and it was him trying to support me and and saying that hey I'm here for you and stuff.
mm,
um and it was just like it was a new experience and interesting that I was just had to get kind of used to because he later on tried so hard
mm,
to comfort and but I was just like it's okay, it's cool and
mm,
yeah, so yeah, but I mean sometimes this my parents still gets on my nerves sometimes, like the way they talk is still kind of toxic,
yeah,
but it's still I think it's still the process of learning to let go of the old habits.
yeah.
But yeah, so
Mm,
through yeah, so definitely through the lesson I learned from my ancestor is to stop the generation curse.
Yeah. I
Yeah.
completely agree, Mr. Mark. And I personally hope, and I also personally believe that everything that has been probably gone in the family, probably through finances, through separation, I personally believe everything is going to come back. It's just that we do not know how it's going to come back. We do not know how everything is going to come back into balance. And, the unity comes back financially, everything just comes back. It's definitely not easy to lose finances. And it's also definitely not easy to, not have someone who supports one emotionally. And I believe that, that really, really meant a lot. And I personally thank God that you're still strong, you're still doing well. Personally, also, my own personal story to, as that type of, traumatic situation. But we doing what is right and still going stronger and believing, and through prayer and even getting more close to God, we believe that we will definitely conquer the world. I sincerely thank you, Mr. Mark. This was a very emotional and a very important discussion. Thank you so much, Mr. Mark.
You're welcome.
All right, sir. Have a
Thank you.
wonderful day, Mr. Mark. Bye bye.
Bye.